What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about what sizings should we bluff catch in 3-bet pots versus the bet check bet line. So we are the out of position pre-flop caller. We check called flop, we check on the turn, and then we check to the in position pre-flop raiser. We're going to look at both profiles, regs and fish, so let's look at regulars first. If we call a c-bet on the flop and the turn goes check, we need to understand that it depends on three factors: the size of their flop c-bet, the size of their river bet, and the pre-flop formation they are in. Let's look at some MDA for this spot. In the first spot, this is the field as the 3-bet pot, in position pre-flop raiser, bet check bet line, reg MDA. What do you guys notice? You notice that the bigger sizings are going to be under bluff. The red is under bluff, the green is going to be bluffed with low pair, and the blue is going to be GTO-ish. So if they bet small on the flop, check on the turn, and they bet 70 on the river, we need to fold all of our bluff catchers. It's also important to note that they are bluffing with low pair, so you cannot call ace highs. This is really important because in 3-bet pots, you do have a lot of ace high bluff catchers on the river, and you need to be folding those versus a bet 30, bet 50, because although they are over bluffing, they are bluffing with low pair. Let's compare this formation to another formation. In the second formation, we're going to look at cutoff first button in the bet check bet line. Now what do we notice? We notice if they bet small, they are still bluffing with low pair, so we have to fold our ace highs. And if they bet 100, they are under bluffing. But you also notice something interesting. If they bet 70 on the flop and then they bet 70 on the river, they are over bluffing with air, so we can call our ace highs if they size up on the flop and then they size bet 70% on the river. This is very interesting because it's not very intuitive. You would think they would bluff more in the smaller sizing, but they bluff more in the bigger sizing. Let's look at small blind versus big blind formation next. We see here the field as 3-bet pot, in position pre-flop raiser, bet check bet. In the small blind versus big blind formation, they are massively over bluffing almost every sizing, and most of their bluffing range is going to be air. So now we can use ace highs to bluff catch, whereas before in the cutoff and button formation and in the tighter formations, you want to fold your ace highs. Now you want to call your ace highs in the small blind versus big blind formation. Okay, let's do a recap and then we'll go to fish. So I'm going to go to notes. So we know it depends on three factors: the size of their flop c-bet, the size of their river bet, and the pre-flop formation they are in. We know in the tight formation, against regs, they bluff merged, and in the loose formation, they bluff with air. So call with your ace highs in the loose formation and fold your ace highs in the tight formation. Now let's go to fish. Fish do not understand position like regs do. So we see something in the data. Let's go to in position versus under the gun hijack, fish data in the bet check bet line. You see they are not distinguishing from pre-flop formation, so they massively overbluff. Even the overbet is overbluffed in the bet check bet line versus fish. So we need to be calling down with ace highs against almost all sizings. Remember, bet 50 c-bet sizing is the most common c-bet sizing for fish. So if the fish bets 50 on the flop, check on the turn, and then he bets 120% pot on the river, we should be calling all ace highs. Let's go to another formation. In another formation, we see, this is the cutoff first button formation, we see the same trend. A lot of over bluffing. We have to be careful with the bigger sizings because they are going to have some low pairs, but in general you want to call down with your ace highs versus the bet check bet line. And finally, let's check the small blind versus big blind. In the small blind versus big blind, the same trend continues. We should be calling with our ace highs because they're bluffing with air mostly. So let's just do a final summary of everything we learned. We know there's three factors: the size of their flop c-bet, the size of their river bet, and the pre-flop formation. We see fish over bluffing in the bet check bet line with air, so we mostly want to call down except on a few circumstances. When we're against regs, we want to fold the ace highs in the tight formations but call the ace highs in the loose formations. And there is one exception in the bet 70 check bet 70 line. When we're against a reg, we want to be calling our ace highs because they're over bluffing with air. If you enjoy this type of content, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. New video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.